Happy Friday to you, everyone. I don't know if you're off today. We're not off here at Taming the Wild. This is a training day. Every day is a training day, whether I'm at home or whether I'm at work. It really doesn't matter. It's all about training our dogs and making sure that we have a relationship with our dog that will lower our blood pressure, both for me and for Captain. If you caught yesterday's live and then looked on the timeline, you noticed I put a little video on there of us taking Captain for a walk yesterday morning. And that's what it's all about, and that's what these last videos have been about. They've been about having a dog that you can take for a walk off leash if you want to. And again, I'll walk Captain in places that require a leash, but if there's no one there, kind of like, hey, in the forest, if a tree falls but there's no one there to hear it fall, is there actually a sound? So again, I just love being off leash. So today we want to kind of show you those final steps that we take, and the final steps that I took with Captain and what Joshua took with his dog Vesper. But in a quick review of yesterday, remember yesterday we kind of wanted to not walk like we normally do with our leash in our hands, whether you hold it with two hands, what have you. We wanted to drape the leash over our shoulders and then just pretend like the dog's not on a leash. So it looks like this. Heel, and we start to go. Okay, and so we move along here, and again, and we just kind of encourage the dog to be by our side. You can just drop that treat right there while you're training. And then at some point, we just shrug that leash off, and we're ready to get our foot on it should we need to at any moment. If I need to, I'm going to get my foot on that line at any moment. We're ready all the time, all the time. And then once we've been doing that for a little bit, we don't really throw the leash over our shoulders any longer. We just now leave it on the ground. Tell the dog, heel. And again, it's your job to give this dog visual clues where it should be. Heel, tap that leg. Show him. Good job. And then you can even use luring to park the dog and a nice sit if you want to do that when you come to a halt. But everything's now about not holding a leash in your hands. Heel. You want the dog to see your hands moving freely. You can be animated. You can even switch. Switch. Attaboy. Good boy. Switch. Good boy. Always consciously aware of where the long line is. Always wear the long line so that you can get that foot on there if you need to. Okay, so that was a little bit of a review of yesterday. I can't really remember, it's been years ago since I was training Captain, how long that took, how long I practiced doing that. And you can achieve off-leash success by doing just this alone. Day after day, long line after long line, day after day, doing it over and over and over again. And if you were going to stick with using just a long line, what I'd recommend that you do next is take the dog into a fenced-in area, somewhere where it is secure. And then the line would come all the way off the dog. And that would be a good sound measuring stick at that point there. You go in there and you find out, holy moly. So now the dog doesn't feel the line any longer. Now my dog leaves me. Okay, you got to go back to work. You have to keep working on this thing till it shifts from explicit memory to deep into that procedural memory, to where it is a habit. It is a biological reflex to a given stimulus. So if you're away from your dog, you can say, come. The dog will do it. You can say heel, go right into that heel, and you can say free. And the dog may do that or not. It just depends on what's. If you're more interested than the rest of the world going on at this moment, then don't expect your dog to free, okay? But if it does wander off, call the dog back, go into a heel, let the dog free, call the dog back, and the cycle continues over and over. So if you're going to stay on the long line, get behind a fence. Go to a baseball field or a tennis court or somewhere in which you have a fenced-in area and practice with your dog, because it'll let you know where you are. Okay, now that being said, you'll notice on my hand I'm wearing a little band here. It's got a button. This is a Bluetooth to a transmitter on a remote collar. Captain's wearing a remote collar right now. Joshua's dog over here is on a remote collar as well. The settings on these right now, this one on Captain is on 20 out of 127. And I'm going to go ahead and press it. There it goes. I just pressed it right there. And so now I caught him by surprise. And then I press it again. And there we go. Nothing. So sometimes that'll happen. You'll catch the animal by total surprise. Captain, come, pressing, nothing. Come, pressing, nothing. Free. So don't let that deter you, because it's no different than you walking across your living room at that moment wearing socks and you touch your TV set and you go, oh, and you do that little squeal thing. Don't let it deter you. The only time I go down is when that continuously happens over and over and over again. So that being said, make sure that when you use a remote collar, you play around with it and you find those settings that work. It should be enough to immediately motivate the dog, to have the dog immediately come back to you, to immediately do what you tell it to do, and it should not be any higher than that, but definitely no lower. So again, so many people use a remote collar, they'll catch their dog by surprise like that with Captain, and bingo, they'll quit using it. So now I press it 5 more times after that, nothing. It's just the way it is, guys. Here's the deal. You're out walking your dog off leash. You want to have that freedom that Captain has when we go off leash. There's got to be something parked in that little brain of his, that little brain right there, that says, you know, when Bryan calls me back, I kind of need to go. Yeah, I kind of need to do that. Because there's everything out there on those walks. There's rabbits. There are squirrels. There's other dogs, stray dogs. We encountered that just the other morning. There are stray people. There are bicyclists. There's darn near everything you can encounter. And something has to tell the animal, you must come to me when I call you. You must get into this heel position and remain in this heel until I release you from that. So again, cost benefit. Treat alone won't always get that thing done. Some days it may, but other days it won't. And the day it won't is the day your dog happens to run out to the street. So get over that. But here's what we do. We make that transition. We go from on-leash to off-leash by being able to touch the dog even though we're not tethered to the dog. So if you're going to use a remote collar, I'm going to have Joshua go ahead and demonstrate now. Notice he has the long line on his dog. Okay? We're going to, when we start off with a remote collar, we still use the long line initially. So we're switching from one haptic signal using the leash to now a haptic signal from the remote training collar. And then after Joshua finishes doing this for a little bit, we're going to let the dog completely off the leash. So this would be your beginning steps. The dog would be on a leash, probably just dragging the leash on the ground, and you're just using it as a safety in case the dog doesn't respond to your remote collar. All right, Joshua, show us your stuff here. Good job. There you go. Notice how he's giving those treats, working the dog. The long line at this point here only serves as a safety. That's all it is, just a safety. This is the beginning days, Now there's a transfer of signals. Okay, so I graduated all the way from being tethered to a human, feeling the line, feeling the human tugging on the line, to the line draped over the human, and now I barely feel it, but I can still see it going up to the human's body, to now it's on the ground, so I feel it being dragged behind me on the ground, and on occasion it goes taunt because someone either grabs it or someone steps on it. Now we will only step on that leash as an absolute emergency. We'll try our remote collar first. Okay, so Joshua, now just go ahead and take off from there, drop that dog right into a heel. So there we go. So now even from a distance there, let's go ahead and do that again, Joshua. Come to a stop if you would, please. Leave her. Go a pretty good ways away from her. There we go. Now call her into a heel.
Can I make a point?
Yes.
That I'm constantly aware of where the end of my line is.
There you go. Good point. So you guys might not have heard that. I got the microphone on. Joshua doesn't. Joshua says when you're doing this, he is constantly aware of where that long line is. Always aware of where it is. You bet. When we're doing this phase right here, that long line's not on there just because it looks good. It's not an accessory. It's there as a tool. So you bet. We're just, again, we got a little parking lot right here. We don't have a whole lot of room, so we're just kind of doing things that if we had a really wide area, we'd be able to do a little bit differently. Okay, collar into a heel.
Heel.
Very good. Again, it's Joshua's responsibility to have the dog pay attention to him. Good. Okay, Joshua, if you'll leave her again, so make her stay. Okay, walk away from her. Okay, and this time, call her and then roll right into a heel. It doesn't matter, just either way you want to do it. So with command come and roll right into a heel. Same thing, it's just now you've transferred anything that the dog feels is going to be through the remote collar, not through you touching the dog.
Vesper, come.
He's calling Vesper,
Heel.
rolling right into a heel.
Atta girl, there you go. There we go. Very good.
All right, and then again, one of the final products, just relax. We're not in a dog show at all. It's all about safety. It's all about enjoying our dogs. Captain, heel. Again, press the button right then. Nothing. Atta boy. Good job. And I can just give him a treat. Go ahead and chew that thing. That was a big one you got. Free dude. Atta boy. Free. Trying to get him to go away from me. But again, typical little magnet. He just always kind of likes to hang out wherever Bryan's going. But I'm just going to relax on my walk. Just relax. Slow my pace. Check my phone. And if he gets away from me, I've got options. I can call him. I'll just make him go right there. Stay. Good boy. And then the same thing as Joshua. Captain, come. Heel. And then roll right into that heel. Roll right into it. Good job, dude. Good job. Make sure you take plenty of treats with you if that's what it takes for your dog. A lot of times with Captain, I'll use a ball, and I'll probably demonstrate that sometime this weekend. The issue with the ball is it can become very hectic in no time. Very hectic. You bounce the ball, it ricochets off the tree, goes about 40 feet that way. Make sure that the ball doesn't work against you, it works with you. So we usually, when I'm first starting off with a ball with Captain, because he loves the ball, I'll use one that's a little deflated, or I'll take a tennis ball and split it. So that when I drop it, it just goes thwack. It really doesn't bounce anywhere, just stuck right there. But he still loves it. Still loves having it. Okay, if you do use remote collars with your dog, I definitely recommend the new modern ones that have the Bluetooth. As you see here, I can pet Captain, I can give him a real rub on the head, I can clap my hands, I can grab something, grab the dog's leash if I need to. You have to intentionally press this button. Intentionally, it's set down deep inside of this little square housing right there. Joshua's holding a transmitter over here, and the transmitter now simply means that you've got one hand on it. Now you only have one hand left to grab your dog, get out that treat, step on that line.
Having to switch hands to grab this treat, switch back over here.
Yep, having to switch hands. So it's a lot going on there at that moment. You drop it 1 second, and you got to pick it back up. No, the new Bluetooth, you can wear them on your palm. That's how I do it. Some people wear it like a wrist, and they'll just touch it like so. No big deal. But again, remote collars they're awesome training tools. Allows you to be off leash with your dog. Still touch your dog if you need to. If you've got a deaf dog, absolute must, because you got to touch them. This doesn't work. Hey, come. Doesn't work unless they can see you. So again, take advantage of electronics. Take advantage of modern technology. Just learn how to use it right. And if you're ever doing it and you catch them by surprise, that can happen. There's days where Captain, his level is up around 40 or 45. Today I've got it on 20. I can't feel 20 on my tongue. I honestly can't. And I challenge anyone out there if they can feel 20 on a tongue. You just catch them by surprise. They totally weren't expecting that at that moment. And let it go. Anything to add, Joshua?
Yeah, just something that might cause some people some, just to possibly save some people some heartache. When you go to that position of transferring off leash, there's some dogs who may associate freedom with the sound of that clasp. So when you're going to that point of letting them fully off leash when you're in that contained area, Vesper, come. Sit. That first time I'm letting a dog off leash, I will just, and I'm just going to take the mic down here so you can hear it. I will sit here without releasing the dog. I will just sit here and make this noise right here. Make the noise and then release the tension. Make that noise and release the tension, because there's some dogs who, when they hear that, they're gone. They are gone. So just a way to desensitize them to thinking that just because they heard that noise does not mean they have full freedom.
Yeah, and then the final thing here is, again, before you even move into this point, you've already worked on come when called. So even if you do make that class sound like Joshua said, and your dog does bolt on you for that reason, because that's the day that you did that, and before that little release caught it back again, the dog sees something that's gone, don't dare try doing off-leash heel if you don't already have off-leash come. You have no business doing that. None whatsoever. So you hear that? Off-leash come, I do that first. Off-leash heel comes next for me if I do it in an order. And then who gives a heck about free? You either leave me or you don't. I just gave you a choice, dog. If you don't leave me, then we're back into off-leash heel. So come and heel, they work together. Don't let them work against one another. Don't take a chance with your dog. Make sure that you can get it done. All right, where's my dog? There's my dog. Hey, buddy. All right, also make sure you have a good supply of treats. We still got the cheap ones, man. We can't. It's hard to get the good ones nowadays with everything that's going on out there. You guys probably get it with stuff that you're trying to order as well. But man, Captain seems to like the cheap ones. Kind of like cheap food. Yeah, man. All right, guys, we've taken enough of your time. If you have questions, don't make this more complex than what it is. Follow all the steps that we've given you. And if you want to venture into remote collar land for off-leash heel and you felt like you didn't get enough here, just let me know. We've got materials and other videos that we've done here in the past here that we can send your way, or just drop them down in the feed. Okay, guys, tomorrow's the 4th. You have a happy 4th. I'll be tuning in, having a little special about the 4th tomorrow. And if you have any questions or you want me to cover anything on Facebook Live, send it to us. We'll be glad to get it on here as soon as we possibly can. So enjoy the rest of your day. Make a great training day and get this off leash. There you are. So you don't have to worry about it. You just look around every now and then and go, where's my dog? Because I don't have to worry about it because I can get him back to me. Work on these things, guys. It really helps lower the blood pressure. Makes the heart go pitter-patter. That's what this whole thing's all about. We'll see you tomorrow.